All right, we gotta make sure we get the Facebook groups in here. Don't want to leave them out. Not during Shrine Bowl and Senior Bowl week.
Biggest week of the year, baby. Let's go.
All right, waiting for those. Got those green check marks. Welcome into another episode of Dove Valley Divers. I am your host, Erick Trickel. I almost said Broncos for breakfast. It's been a long day, but joining me tonight is Lance Sanderson. Lance, I'm obviously upset that the Broncos didn't beat the Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I am slightly relieved that I don't have to go through this week doing Senior Bowl stuff, Shrine Bowl stuff, and Super Bowl, some Super Bowl prep stuff and everything like that. And I'm just a little bit relieved. Obviously, I would have loved it. I would have found a way to make it work, but it's just nice to have a little bit less off my plate.
Yeah, it's fine, dude. Like it sucks. The Broncos obviously losing to the Patriots at home in a snowstorm, backup quarterback, just a ridiculously terrible situation for this Broncos team. And I mean, it's been a great ride, guys. And like, there's a lot of things that you can take away from this season that you should be very positive about. I mean, the offensive line did a really good job this year. The defense played at a spectacular level. We saw it wasn't the greatest amount of growth from Bo Nix, but I mean, there's a lot of things to really like. The coaching staff's in a little bit of turmoil right now with some turnover, but just with everything that's going on, you get out of the Russell Wilson dead cap situation. You've made the playoffs in back-to-back seasons. You made the AFC Championship game, won the number 1 seed in the AFC this year. There's a lot to like, and this roster doesn't seem to have a whole lot of turnover in it. So it sucks that we didn't get to continue to cover this team for this particular season. But you know what, guys? It was a great and fantastic ride. It was great to cover this season with you. It was great to cover the offseason and everything like that. Can't wait to get forward to the draft and everything. But, man, without question, I mean, I've been with Mile High Huddle since 2018. It is the best season that I've ever had to cover, but without question. So it was a great ride while it lasted. But let's dial the clock a little bit forward and get back to what you and I do best here on Dove Valley Deep Divers. This is starting to break down the NFL draft, man.
Yeah, I mean, it is definitely one. I've had a lot of opportunity to talk about the Patriots game and the issues with that, and we're starting to see it. There's some unhappiness, obviously, from Sean Payton, changes to the coaching staff,
Yep.
allowing a close ally of his for many years to leave, firing another one, firing a couple of the position coaches. We'll get more into that as well as getting into the Shrine Bowl and the Senior Bowl. Absolutely love those elements of it, of the scouting process. It's the last time that you can see these players in a game element before the draft.
Yep.
And a lot of them, a lot of money is made. And I remember I was talking with one scout a couple years ago, and he said something to me that has always stuck with me. He says, you can make a lot of money at the Senior Bowl, but very rarely do you lose a lot of money at the Senior Bowl.
Yep.
And there's guys that they go out there and they have bad weeks and they still get drafted high. And it's always not about how, and Senior Bowl is also a thing of it's not how you start, it's how you finish. Last year, Josh Connolly had probably one of the worst starts to the Senior Bowl, absolutely demolished on the first day, bounced back, finished strong, had a pretty good game as well, and turned it around, got drafted, and was a starter for the Washington Commanders all season long. And then with the Shrine game, I absolutely love identifying talent from there. It absolutely stinks because 3 guys I identified from the Shrine game last year are now playing in the Super Bowl, and all of them for the Patriots. Afton Chisholm III, Elijah Ponder, and Craig Woodson. Absolutely liked what they did last year during the season or during the practices, and then in the game they absolutely also stood out, and now they're contributing and helping the Patriots win games and make it a Super Bowl and beat Denver. And they can, I no longer like them. But before we get into this, we're gonna say hello to some people here in the chat. Of course, we have David Papa Bear McGillrath coming in with a $2 super chat saying, "Good evening, Broncos country." Good evening to you. I hope you are having a wonderful Friday night. Michael Ranquillo also coming in saying, "Good morning, Erick and Lance on the Dove Valley Divers. Go Bo Broncos." More like good night. If this was morning, man, I am way off, which wouldn't be surprising. Been up since about 3:30 this morning, doing the morning show and doing work and all that stuff like that. And it's been a very long day, and I know it's been a long day for you with how early you have to get up for work. And Michael also saying, hit those thumbs up and subscribe to the Mile High Huddle podcast on YouTube and become a member of Mount Rushmore supporter and join Mile High Huddle podcast Discord. Go Bo Broncos. Thank you, Michael, for always reminding us to do the shout out because I often forget until the end of the show. We have Todd saying, hello, everyone. We have Chase Wellner. Michael also, thank you for the props. Appreciate you. Saying that we do a great job scouting talent for the Shrine Bowl and Senior Bowl each year. Chase Wellner saying, let's go, fellas. Chad's a fan of the Texas Tech linebacker, Jacob Rodriguez, and I will tell you, I am not at all surprised
No.
that Chad's a fan of his. Daniel Berry Sports Highlight coming and saying happy Friday. What's up, everybody? Greg Smith, good evening, Broncos country. Anthony Johnson, let's go Denver. Patrick coming in and saying aloha, boys. And if I remember correct, it is a late happy birthday to you, Patrick. It was yesterday or the day before, I think I saw. I can't remember exactly, but happy late birthday to you. I hope you had a wonderful birthday. And Greg Smith saying aloha, Patrick. And yes, definitely. Thank you all for joining in and having this night. But before we get into it, we got to get a little bit comfy and cozy for the show tonight. Right, Lance?
Yeah, guys, Broncos country, Valentine's Day is almost here. How will you guys show yourself and those around you a little bit of extra love, whether it's for someone special or just for yourself? Cozy Earth makes it easy to bring comfort and care into your everyday life. This Valentine's Day season, guys, we are offering a BOGO, buy one, get one pajama deal you won't see any other time of the year.
Let me tell you what, buy one, get one is a awesome deal. I take advantage of it whenever I can. So go check out the Bamboo Pajama Set. It's classic Cozy Earth favorite, and it's a sleepwear upgrade that'll make you look forward to slipping into bed at night even more. It's lightweight, yet cozy. The soft pajama set helps you fall asleep faster and stay comfortable longer. It's designed to drape beautifully and sleep cooler than cotton. It keeps your temperature just right without overheating. Sounds amazing to me, and it makes for a great night's sleep.
Yeah, guys, you better go try them out. If you don't love them, return them hassle-free, but trust us, guys, you're not going to want to. Cozy Earth offers customers a 100-night sleep trial as well as a 10-year warranty, because once you feel this level of comfort, you'll want it to last at least a decade, if not even more.
These viral PJs are so good that they sold out during the holidays, and now they're back with an exclusive deal only available from January 25th, which was a few days ago, to February 8th, which is a little over a week away. Head to cozyearth.com and use our code HUDDLEBOGO to buy one, get one free. Get these PJs for you and someone you love, and if you get a post-purchase survey, be sure to mention that you heard about Cozy Earth right here at Mile High Huddle. Celebrate everyday love with comfort that makes the little moments count. And thank you, Cozy Earth, for the sponsorship. I will definitely be taking a look at that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know about you, Lance. I sleep really hot. I have a major issue with that where my wife sleeps really cool. So anything that can help me stay cool at night without having to open a window and make her freeze, that's a win.
So I love to sleep cool. And the nice thing about the way our house is set up is our pellet stove is like on the very opposite side of our bedroom. So we close the door and like lock it out. It's like 50 degrees in our bedroom. It's absolutely fantastic. But you know what, Cozy Earth, I'm going to try it out. We're going to surprise the wife with some new comfort stuff for bedtime. So I'm excited to try that stuff out.
Anyways, getting back to the topic here, we have Roy Osborne coming saying, hey there, Eric and Lance. Nice to see you guys. Nice to see you as well. George Fox, do you think we'll draft or get a free agent wide receiver? I think Denver will look for a veteran means, but it doesn't mean they won't also draft one. Michael coming in talking about getting Dunker, for the Iowa offensive lineman, having a great Senior Bowl week. He definitely did. I wouldn't say he had one of the best Senior Bowl practices, but he definitely had a good week. Phil McLaughlin coming in saying, good evening, Eric and Lance. Any chance Peyton gives up play calling and promote Webb to offensive coordinator? Would you prefer Brian Johnson or Ronald Curry? This brings us right into the first part of this topic, the coaching updates. First off, Pete Carmichael, he took a job. Well, Nick and I were live this morning. It broke that he took the job as the offensive coordinator there with the Buffalo Bills, and they were the main threat for Davis Webb. Or one of the main threats for Davis Webb. And then we have Declan Doyle getting hired to the Baltimore Ravens, who was the other main threat for Davis Webb. It's always been expected that Davis Webb would be the guy in Denver. And well, there's the Rooney Rule that the Broncos had to comply with. They do so with Brian Johnson and Ronald Curry interviews. I wouldn't be surprised if they're also looking at Ronald Curry for a position, maybe quarterback coach here in Denver, and just kind of using that offensive coordinator meeting to also talk about that. I do think that Davis Webb will be the offensive coordinator. Peyton giving up play calling is something that I have heard a little bit of back and forth on. And we know that Denver was at least interested in it when conversation started between Peyton and Joe Brady about a week ago about bringing Joe Brady over. The conversation included giving up some play calling duties. With Davis Webb, I wouldn't be surprised if Peyton gives it up in some capacity, maybe not full time, but maybe it's a situation from series to series or red zone and between the 20s or vice versa. Some way, I do think that there will be a split there. from what I've gathered, Davis Webb really does care about taking, having a louder voice within the offense and more of a say. And he was looking for the opportunity. It really sounded like that the Baltimore Ravens were really enticing for him.
Mm-hmm.
And if the Baltimore Ravens, if they pivoted off of him to Declan Doyle, it makes me think that there is something there between Peyton and Webb to keep him in Denver.
Yeah, and the big thing here with Declan Doyle is Broncos fans should remember that name. I believe he was the tight ends coach for, was that Nathaniel Hackett or was it with
it was Peyton?
It wasn't Peyton. Okay, so Declan Doyle, he then went to the Green Bay Packers. I believe he was the quarterbacks coach and pass game coordinator there. Then
Nope.
to then be no,
he went to be Ben Johnson's offensive coordinator for the Chicago Bears, and then got
that's
hired.
right. I'm going to my. Yeah, I'm going to my next guy, Sean Mannion, who was just hired as the offensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles, was the quarterbacks coach over there. So yes. I'm crossing a little bit of wires here. Regardless, so my point is here that a lot of these young offensive minds, Declan Doyle is only, I believe, 29 or 29 years. Yeah, 29 years old. Sean Mannion played in the NFL as little as 2 years ago, and Davis Webb played and started a game for the New York Giants in 2022. The meteoric rise of these quarterback coaches, these passing game coordinators becoming offensive coordinators at the NFL level is really starting to show that prominence more and more and more. I mean, look at Mike Kafka, who was with the Kansas City Chiefs there for a while. He was the interim head coach for the New York Giants. Where did he end up? I know he just got a job the other day as well. So regardless, it's former quarterbacks or former offensive like passing game coordinators are really starting to dry these jobs up. With Davis Webb, the big thing here is seeing that Pete Carmichael was taken with the Buffalo Bills. Joe Lombardi also, I believe, went up that way as well. With Davis Webb, the offensive coordinator positions have all dried up. The only one available left for him to maybe go and take an advance from a quarterback's coach is the Las Vegas Raiders. And he just pulled his name out of the conversation there because the expectation is that the Raiders are going to hire Clint Kubiak following the Super Bowl. So it's kind of interesting to see the same kind of dynamic in these young play callers, these young quarterback coaches getting these offensive coordinator jobs. And to me, with Davis Webb being a longtime quarterback, he started for the University of California for a handful of years, played in the NFL. He has the ability to recite these play calls over and over and over again. He can do that in a headset very easily. And if Sean Payton's willing to give him up at least some kind of that opportunity, he did in the preseason, and we saw in the Arizona Cardinals game how well Davis Webb did kind of tie his play sequencing together over and over again. With Sean Payton's issues that he had over the last half of this season in sequencing, getting Davis Webb in a fresh offensive mind for this offense and a guy that Bo Nix trusts and likes and loves, that they're very good friends. This to me is a really good move. The Broncos actually managed to keep Davis Webb and give him some play calling duties.
Yeah, and it's a good sign. I think that obviously we don't know how it's going to work out with the firing of Lombardi and getting Carmichael out of there. And I know that a lot of people are blaming him for the offensive output, especially earlier in the season. But I mean, how much was their voice in the offense really? It was definitely Sean Payton's job, responsibility and everything like that. But it is promising at least that he's willing to move on from trusted guys and get somewhat fresh blood in it. He has worked with Ronald Curry before, and obviously he has that time with Davis Webb. But even when he brought in Davis Webb, he didn't have a whole lot of experience working with him. But so it's nice that at the very least, it's nice that he's bringing in some fresh blood and some fresh thinking, and maybe guys that aren't as yes man to Sean Payton.
Yeah.
I'm really curious to see what happens with Ronald Curry. He's still under contract with the Buffalo Bills as a quarterbacks coach, but Joe Brady, there's been some questions about how much of a voice he had over that offensive staff, and they've allowed a couple guys on that offensive staff to leave even since he's been hired. Maybe Ronald Curry is in that same boat, comes over as quarterback coach. He's also served as wide receiver coach as well, something that the Broncos will need to find. I'm really curious to see, and I have absolutely no insight into what they're going to do for a cornerbacks coach as well, but definitely a lot of changes coming into the coaching staff. And one thing with all these changes is hopefully these hires Sean Payton, George Payton, Penner, all those people behind it. Hopefully, Lance, they strike gold.
Yeah. Speaking of gold, guys, have you guys heard of Goldbelly? It's this amazing site where you guys can get the most iconic, famous foods from restaurants all across the United States. It is perfect for game day, Valentine's Day, or anything else you guys have going on, parties at home. No matter what, these guys are going to help you out. It's seriously amazing, guys. Goldbelly will ship you iconic Chicago deep dish pizza from Lou Malnati's in Chicago, the original buffalo wings from the Anchor Bar in Buffalo, Guy Fieri's unbelievable trash can nachos, real Philly cheesesteaks from Philadelphia, or even the legendary Franklin's barbecue straight from Texas to your guys' front door. And with Valentine's Day coming up, they also have great gifts like award-winning dinners from Peter Luger Steakhouse, world-famous macaroons from La Durée, and even the exact cake served at JFK's wedding to Jackie O.
Yeah, when I was looking over this, there was a few things that caught my eye, but the Philly cheesesteak, that was what really did it. And it was absolutely delicious. It was high quality grub delivered to my door, and it lived up to the lofty expectations I had and the legend of the Philly cheesesteak, especially with where they have to ship it to, shipping to Alaska. It was like having a culinary piece of Philadelphia shipped to me hassle-free. Sometimes you don't know what you're going to get quality-wise from online food ordering sites, but Goldbelly absolutely delivers, and this tasted amazing. So whether you're looking to turn game day into an unforgettable experience with friends or want to impress a loved one on Valentine's Day, go to goldbelly.com and get 20% off your first order with promo code MileHigh. That's goldbelly.com, code MileHigh for 20% off your first order. And thank you, Goldbelly, for that. And if anybody's wondering, yes, I am looking for the worst absolute transition ever into one of our ad reads. But
terrible segues, man. Come on, help set me up.
That is my goal. And so if I do a good job, let me know so I can try to fix it and do worse next time. But we're going to switch things up a little bit. Lance is going to take the wheel from here as we're going to get into the Shrine Bowl and the Senior Bowl. Me being able to do this full time, obviously, I've had a lot more time on my hands to do this as this is my job and go over these guys. So, Lance, go ahead and take it away. Who do you want to hit me about first? Shrine Bowl, Senior Bowl, where are we starting?
Well, so first and foremost, I haven't hit the Shrine Bowl yet. So let's start with the articles that you have over on Mile High Huddle. I'm just going to grab a couple of names here. This is 10 Shrine Bowl options to bolster the Broncos defense over at milehighhuddle.com. This is published January 23rd. So as we scroll through. So before practices, Darrell Jackson Jr., the nose tackle from Florida State, if I remember correctly, he did well enough at the Shrine game to be brought up to the Senior Bowl. Is that right?
Yeah, he called up and his very, very first rep absolutely destroyed the offensive lineman he was going against. And let me tell you, he is about 330 pounds, but he looks like he's 280. There is no chubbiness to him whatsoever. He is built, and it shows when you watch him on tape. I was a big fan of his tape, big fan of what he did at the Shrine Bowl, and I'm glad he got that elevation to the Senior Bowl as well.
Yeah, and again, guys, I mean, the Broncos already have DJ Jones on the roster. This guy projects to be a pure nose tackle with the size and the length that he has, the power that he has. He can bring you some pass rush intensity as well. You've got Malcolm Roach, you've got DJ Jones already there. Is this guy like a developmental player, or is he going to be a player like in the top 100 after he comes out of the Senior Bowl?
For Darrell Jackson?
Yes.
It's tough. Okay. So you're going to hear, if you're listening to this, you're going to hear a lot about how great this defensive line class is throughout this draft process. And I want to make it very clear here. This is a strong defensive line class because of the nose tackles. I said this earlier, talking with a guy. He said that normally we only have about 10 to 14 nose tackles with draftable grades. We're sitting at 24. Subject to change. Combine can change things. Interviews can change things. But for teams, they typically have about 100, well, on the low end, 80. Most teams said about 100 to 140 players on their draft board at all. And he's saying that they have 24 of those spots on their draft board are nose tackles.
That's ridiculous, dude.
It is ridiculous. That is where the strength of this class is. How much is that going to impact somebody like Darrell Jackson, he can do a little bit of that pocket pushing up the middle, but he's definitely more of a two-gapping run defender. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to crack the top 100 because of the depth of the nose tackles in this class. And there are some who do offer quite a bit more as a pass rusher. But in a normal year, I think that he would pretty easily find himself getting drafted somewhere between 60 and 80.
Yeah. Again, like this class, we're going to get into another couple of these guys, and Lee Hunter and Caleb Banks, Lee Hunter from Texas Tech and Caleb Banks, who are at the Senior Bowl. We're getting those guys here in a minute, but it could still even be better. Amari Washington, the nose tackle from Oregon, went back to school. So like you got 24 players as it stands right now on a draft board. You're missing another one in there that's probably a top 32.
There was
pick.
like 5 nose tackles that a lot of people thought would come out that decided to return to school.
Yeah, like
and smart on them.
Yeah, like this nose tackle class is wild. So getting back to the Shrine Bowl here really fast.
Well, real quick, we have Shiloh coming in saying, how did John Michael Gillenborg look at the Senior Bowl? He had one great catch from what I remember, and the rest wasn't memorable in a positive way. In blocking drills, that was very memorable because, yeah, he can't block. He is, I said this before, and I'll say it again as well. This is a tight end class where you're picking your poison. Do you want a really good blocker or do you want a really good receiver? There are a few that are in there in the middle. He is definitely one of those good receivers, and there is a lot more of those good receivers. I think he's going to get pushed down a little bit. I know that there was some talk about him going top 100, but the rough week at the Senior Bowl and how many receiving tight ends there are in this class, he could probably go 150 to 175. But then again, last year, there was that early run on those receiving tight ends that a lot of people weren't expecting. Maybe that happens again this year.
Yeah. So there was an article written, I can't remember who it was. Let me pull up my Twitter really fast. That was about John Michael Gillenborg and his just rise to, I don't want to say stardom because he's obviously not a star yet, but this is a guy.
By Wyoming standards, he's a star.
Well, from Emily Van Buskirk at Pro Football Network, she got a sit down one-on-one with him right before the Senior Bowl started, and this kid.
Oh, Lance, you broke up.
His grandfather didn't want him to play football. His mom was like, we're not playing football. He was a baseball and basketball player at 6'5", 255 pounds. Like this is a big dude. And he also logged at 6'5", 255, the fastest time or the fastest mile per hour of any tight end at the Senior Bowl thus far, over 19 miles an hour. Like this is an explosive player. He has very little production at high school. I think he only had like 32 catches, missed a bunch of time with a torn LCL. When he finally got to Wyoming, sat on the practice squad for 2 years, then became he was an all Mountain West selection this season as a senior. Very, very young player and just doesn't understand the physicality of the game. But if you're looking for a true athlete at the position and a great pass catcher, this is your guy. Like as a late round player, probably 5th, 6th round, somewhere around in there. If you're looking for an Evan Ingram replacement, because that's what he's going to be, kind of a bigger slot guy that's going to go over the middle of the field and just be a reliable receiver for you, this is the guy that you can kind of build around as that kind of an option. You're not going to line him up as a Y and be a true run blocker, and that's not what he was even in Wyoming, where they do run a lot of 12 personnel. He was split out in the slot, split out wide, and running down the field vertically, which is really what he's going to bring to the NFL level.
Yeah, and just to be clear here, when we talk about where these guys are going to go, just got to remember, it's January 30th. We have the combine, we have pro days, we have that stuff still to happen. What we say now with where we projected them go, that can and very likely will change with a lot of these players over the next few months until we get to the draft end of April and see where they actually go. So I'm always worth remembering, it is still January. There's still a long process for this.
Yeah, absolutely. So going back to your article, there was a guy that you mentioned in the group chat, and I know bringing up the group chat is taboo. We don't ever do that on the show. But linebacker from Cincinnati at the Shrine Bowl, Jake Golday is.
He unfortunately pulled out.
Oh, did he really? Okay,
he pulled out of the event.
Well, then never mind. I was going to ask you about Jake Golday because I remember you specifically talking about him. Why don't you talk about him really fast, and I'll kind of dig through the rest of this article really quick.
He is one of those guys. So with linebacker, height and length is becoming very important at the NFL level. Being able to, play that linebacker position and take away that window of those over routes. We were trying to drop it over the linebackers, under the safeties. He's 6'4". There are some questions if he has the long arms that go with it. There are also some questions about the overall athleticism, but he can play. There are some technical hiccups with his play and coverage, but he's got the instincts, he's got the smarts, he's got a lot for you to sit there and work with and develop. Downhill, sideline and sideline, he's unafraid of taking on blocks. He reads and reacts very well. very quick with play diagnosis. He is one of those guys that right now I think he's probably sitting there, probably right around 50-ish, probably maybe like 40 to 50. And if he goes out there and tests well at the combine, I would not be unhappy at all. And I am a guy who is very big on not a fan of linebackers round one. I would definitely consider him at 30th overall if the Broncos still have their first round pick by the time we get around to the draft.
Yeah, I can't wait to dive into this class, guys. Like I'm so late right now getting into everything, and I tried to watch a bunch of the Senior Bowl. I didn't get to the Shrine Game nearly as much as I wanted to. I don't do a lot of work at the Shrine Game, but man, the way that you were talking about Golday in the group chat a couple of days ago, just like this is a guy that you really, really like and think that he can be one of these elite risers at the linebacker class, which seems to be a fairly solid class. It's not great.
It is a good class.
Like there's a lot. There's a lot here. You've got obviously Sonny Styles is probably a top 5 pick. CJ Allen from Georgia. You've got Anthony
Another
Hill
one with
Jr.
size
from
concerns.
Texas. Yep, Anthony Hill Jr. The Bryce Betcher, I think, is the kid from Oregon. It's a late round.
Owen Henneke.
Yep, like there's a handful of players at this linebacker class that seem to be really, really high quality players, including a guy we'll get to here at the Senior Bowl here in a couple of minutes. But I want to switch to this, the Shrine Game on the offensive side of the ball. I got 2 players for you here. One, another guy you mentioned in the group chat, Chip Trayanum, the running back out of Toledo, and you said that he was the best running back at the Shrine Game, at least from what I remember. So talk about Chip Trayanum in a minute.
During the practices he was, in the actual game, he actually got outshined by Dom Richardson out of Tulsa, who literally put that game on his back and carried his team to victory. Literally. Chip Trayanum, there's some work to do in pass protection, but none of the running backs at the Shrine Week did a great job in pass protection, but he did the best. There was a play during the game where he should have had been tackled for a 2-yard loss, but he broke through the tackle and turned it into a 9-yard gain. He is big. He is a lot more agile than you expect for a guy who's almost 230 pounds and like 6'2", I think is how tall he measured, is how his height that he came in at the Shrine Bowl. He can make people miss. He can plow his way through. He did that a few times at the Shrine Bowl. He can break through tackles. If you're looking for a power element, I think he probably goes 6th or 7th round. He's there. I wouldn't be surprised at all if he goes earlier because he also has some good pass catching ability. Fumble rate is really good. He doesn't put the ball on the ground a lot, which is for power backs that you want to run between the tackles. That's very important for them. A little bit more explosive guys, you can kind of shrug it off a little bit, unless it's historically bad, like Jadon Blue, calling you out, Nick. But Chip Trayanum, he is definitely a guy that I'm very intrigued by, very curious to go what it's about. And I think my favorite thing about him is for the 2025 college football season, he was 12th in rushes of 10 plus yards, only 4 behind Jeremiah Love, the top back in this class. And he was tied for the 12th most rushes of 15 plus yards. And I believe that was actually more than Jeremiah Love, but I can't remember exactly on that one. I just remember four fewer than that for the 10 plus in Emmett Johnson, the Nebraska back, the big explosive kid.
Yep.
There's one behind on 10 plus yards and only 1 or 2 behind on 15 plus. So he's right there with some explosive backs. Big fan of his. Stood out all week long.
But he's got a shorter, compact build too, doesn't he? That Chip Trayanum kid. Like I saw a little bit of the highlights. Like he's a shorter, compact kind of kid, like jitterbug kind of a player. Or am I thinking the wrong guy here?
You are for
Trayanum. Yeah,
you are thinking incorrectly. He is 6'2" and 200. And I think he's 200 measured. Came in at 228 pounds.
Oh, so the bigger back. I must be thinking of someone different.
Let me see if I can pull up his measurements real quick. I know he's over 225 pounds. He is definitely heavier on the heavier side for a back.
Yeah, I thought that there was a smaller back.
5'10". He was a little bit shorter than I thought. 5'10", 225.
Okay, well, 225. I mean, 5'10", 225. That's a big dude, but compact build. It doesn't seem like he's a big bruising kind of a runner. So we're same page here. Continuing here with the Shrine Bowl.
Well, there's gonna say hello to some people in the chat. Shannon Mills coming in saying, "Hey everyone, hey to you, Shannon. Hope you enjoyed this conversation." And all that, and then Glenn Ashley from Down Under coming in saying, "Good afternoon, Eric, Lance, and Broncos country. I really think we need to draft 2 tight ends in this draft between rounds 3 and 5, based on current. Obviously, combine will change things. A wideout in draft and free agency, a linebacker, one of Trotter, Golday, York, or Lawson. Not a fan of 2 of those guys. A fan of the other 2 though. With those linebackers, And we'll have plenty of time to get into that here in a little bit. But thank you for joining us, Glenn, when it is, I believe, pretty early is on the January 31st down where you're at. So I hope you're having a
Mhm.
wonderful Saturday.
That video, Glenn, that you showed me of your son right after the Buffalo Bills game literally made my wife's day. She was so happy to see that your son coming up and just jumping up and down and screaming. That was absolutely incredible. Thanks for joining us, man. All right, so back to it. I got to be better about watching the chat. If I'm driving the show, I got to watch the chat. I'm sorry about that, guys. Anyway, so there was a couple of wide receivers that you had brought up at the Shrine game. One of them I know from being a gigantic Montana Grizzlies fans, and unfortunately they fell short in the FCS playoffs this year, losing to Montana State in a bad way. The other one is a wide receiver, I believe, from Iowa. But I want to talk about this Montana Grizzlies kid, Michael Wortham. FCS, obviously lower level of football. He started his career as a JUCO quarterback, then transitioned. He transferred to Eastern Washington and then transferred to Montana for the last couple of years. Michael Wortham, as a quarterback, threw for over 2,000 yards, 28 touchdowns, ran for 10 more. In his senior season at Montana, had 2,431 all-purpose yards, including receiving, rushing, throwing, and return yardage. This dude is incredibly explosive, and he was one that you kind of talked about at the Shrine game, man. Talk about him for a minute.
Yeah, he's definitely a gadget player, but there's a little bit more to his route running that can offer you a little bit more. The returning ability that popped out in the game. Unfortunately, they didn't do a whole lot of returning drills, but he popped and he took advantage of every chance he got. He actually looked a little bit better than the Iowa wide receiver returner, Weejan. I can't remember his first name off the top of my head. But yeah, Wortham really stood out in the game. He stood out in practices. He was so quick, and even more than that, he was sudden. And that is something that you really got to look
Mhm.
with route running is how sudden can you snap that route, make that break, and get that instant separation for a wide receiver away from the corner. And it was consistent. And throughout the game, he was one of the favorite targets. I can't remember how many catches he had, but he was one of the favorite targets. And yeah, he definitely caught my eye. Probably a guy that's going to go undrafted. Probably a guy that's going to have to, catch on as be that returner guy. Very Efton Chisholm esque from
Mm.
last year, who went undrafted and caught on with the Patriots as a returner for them, and has been an impact player for them. And that kind of a similar mold for not only Wortham but Weejan as well, with the Iowa wide receiver.
Yeah.
And nobody ever tell Nick that I'm giving props to an Iowa player on offense.
We're gonna get into a couple more of those guys here in just a couple minutes, but yeah, that Michael Wortham, man, he was great for the Montana Grizzlies, and like you said, dude, explosive, sudden, just the quickness in and into and out of his breaks, developed incredibly well at the University of Montana as a receiver. So a very fun guy, and if I ever get the chance, I mean, my dad grew up in Helena. Like we've always been Montana Grizzlies fans here in the Sanderson household. So to be able to shout out a guy like that down there and a guy that showed really well at the Shrine game, I'm always going to get the opportunity to do that. Let's change gears here. I don't see anything in the chat needs to grab anybody's attention here. So let's go to the Senior Bowl here. I'm going to start on the national
And
side.
as soon as you say that, Shannon Mills coming in with the $50 super chat.
Are you kidding me?
Good evening. So close about this class. Work is insane. Thanks for all the info. I'm glad. I know not everybody can take the time, and not everybody wants to take the time to really look into classes outside of some of the big names. So I appreciate you for this, and I'm glad that we can help you learn a little bit more about this class. And then Roy Osborne is saying, "Come on, Lance. I don't want to hear about the Grizzlies. I almost had a job with the Grizzlies, so
He's a
years
Jax
ago."
fan. He's a Jax fan, if I remember correctly. I mean,
That means nothing to me.
San Diego State, the San Diego State Jackrabbits.
Okay.
If I remember correctly, Roy Osborne's a San Diego State Jackrabbits fan, so that's where that's coming from. I don't remember. Regardless, thanks, Roy, for joining us. We definitely appreciate it. Let's jump to the Senior Bowl here for a minute. And Shannon, thank you very much for
Thank you so
very
much.
very generous super chat. I don't want to leave you out in the cold any more than you need to. Like that, very generous. We definitely appreciate that. Jumping to the Senior Bowl here. Let's go to Eric. I'm going to start on the national roster here. There's a handful of running backs here that have caught a lot of Broncos fans' eyes, specifically myself here, Katron Allen and Nick Singleton, the two running backs from Penn State. Unfortunately, Nick Singleton broke his foot at the Senior Bowl, so that's going to be kind of a notch in his draft evaluation. We'll have to see what happens with the medical rechecks at the combine and see how his draft process continues to go on. I'm not sure the extent of the injury, but I do know that he was reported that he broke his foot. But Katron Allen, man, that dude showed everything. He showed the burst. He showed the physicality. He showed some pass rush chops, pass protection chops, showed some receiving chops. Like, man, those two guys were pretty impressive to watch out there in the short time that they were on the field.
Yeah, Lance, and you want to know what they don't do?
What's that?
They don't get their colleges mixed up. South Dakota State Jackrabbits.
That's I thought I said did I not just say that it was South Dakota State? He's a Jackrabbit.
You said San Diego.
I thought I said South Dakota.
I swear you said San Diego. Anyways, what they actually don't do is they don't fumble the ball.
Yes.
That is a big thing for me, obviously, especially as the NFL becomes more focused on maximizing your possessions, and possessions per game are dropping. Definitely a big thing for me. Both of them looked really good. The broken foot, I'm really curious to see what's going to happen with that with Singleton. I liked him a lot more than Katron Allen. If I remember correctly, Katron Allen actually has a little bit more miles on his tires than Singleton does.
Yep.
But I don't know. They both looked fine, but I'm not sure which team he's on, because apparently Wikipedia has the roster all messed up, and the Senior Bowl roster website won't load on my PC. But the best running back of the week was Jaden Ott out of Oklahoma. And I want to give him a shout out too, because that is a guy, that is one of Dylan's dudes, at least it seems to be. And if you want to talk about blocker, this guy was like, came in at about 208 8 pounds, I think is what he said.
I think that's right.
And he was absolutely killing it as a blocker. I don't remember him getting beaten even once. Like he just stonewalled consistently.
It's unfortunate because the Senior Bowl tape that I got was not great. I was kind of showing Eric behind the scenes before we got started. The contrast was bad. I didn't really get to see a whole lot of like helmets and numbers, so it was hard to dig through this stuff. But what I did see from Nick Singleton, the explosiveness is there. Jaden Ott had a couple of really good pass blocking snaps, so I don't disagree with you. But I think that the one player that I really kind of have a crush on right now is Katron Allen from Penn State. That dude was phenomenal in everything that I saw him do. Like it was a lot of fun. And guys, I'm gonna kind of run through this quickly. We're getting not really short on time. We got about 20 minutes here, so I'm gonna kind of run through this in draft need order, at least for go ahead.
Real quick, I just want to grab this Wikipedia from Glenn. Wikipedia, Epic Cook, the rosters. I had the same issue, Eric. Yeah, it led to an issue when I sent in my Senior Bowl practice articles to Chad, and he had to text me a little bit later. He's like, "Hey, isn't this guy on this roster and this guy's on this other roster?" I was like, "Well, let me double check." So I just pulled up Wikipedia real quick. It says, "No, Wikipedia says this." And then finally, I was like, "Okay, I'll use my phone and pull up the Senior Bowl." It did. I'm like, "Nope, Wikipedia is wrong." Very frustrating on my end. Fortunately, it was an easy fix. They were both on the defensive side, so all they had to do was be put on the opposite thing because it was split by roster. So a very easy fix, but still frustrating that you have to do with that.
Yeah. Anyways, guys, I'm going to kind of like cook through this really quickly here. I'm going to go and
if I allow it.
You're going to allow it. You're going to allow it. You got to at least let me have this one more opportunity. Anyways, gonna kind of go in what I perceive as like draft need here for the Broncos. Obviously, starting off with the running backs, Nick Singleton, Katron Allen, Jaden Ott, all those guys. There's a Kentucky running back that I didn't necessarily like, especially in the one-on-one drills. I don't remember his name, and I believe it's on the
Seth McGowan.
I think that's right. Yes, that's right. I didn't like what he brought in the one-on-ones. Apparently, he did better in the team drills that I didn't get a really chance to dive into. So. I think tail end of the draft, day 3 guy, maybe undrafted free agent guy. So I don't know. I didn't like it. But moving to staying on the same side of the football here, this tight end class offers a lot here. Justin Joly, North Carolina State, Tanner Koziel from Houston made a great catch from the left-handed quarterback from North Dakota State in a red zone drill. I mean, obviously we talked about John Michael Gillenborg there. you've got who's the Old Miss kid that's there? Is that Naquan Wright? Is that the one? I can't remember.
At the
Hold on.
Senior Bowl
I'm pulling it up. He was on the American team.
for Mississippi.
Maybe I'm thinking the wrong one. Oh no, sorry. There was a blue helmet guy. Not that one. Sam Roush, the kid out of Stanford. Let's talk about him for a second. 6'5", 259 pounds, big, long, very like physical player on the offensive line. In terms of a blocker, Sam Roush is another guy that I really kind of liked what I saw from him in the one-on-ones.
And he is a smart dude.
Yes.
He has his computer science degree, and they had a little interview during it where he was talking about the similarities between football and coding. And he's like, it's all about pattern recognition and finding that pattern and taking care of it and all this stuff like that. Smart dude, absolutely praise for it. And I said earlier, pick your poison between receiving and blocking, and there's few that are there in between that have that both. He is one of those few. He is probably going to go a lot earlier than people are expecting as things currently stand. Athletic testing will be very big for him, especially if he can go out there and show he can move really well at 6'5" and basically 260 pounds. He carries that weight extremely well. Big fan of his. Spoiler alert, not in my mock draft tomorrow, even though I really wanted to make it work. I just couldn't. Which mock draft, first one of after Denver got eliminated, comes out tomorrow. But I am a big fan of his. He can block, he can catch. And Derek Moore, an edge out of Michigan, was absolutely killing it all week. There was a miscommunication in team drills right up against the goal line. I think they're on the 6-yard line, where Roosh was supposed to get help from the tackle on a double team on Moore. He didn't, and he still basically drove Moore out of the back of the end zone.
Yeah.
And that's pretty standard, signifies how good of a blocker he is when even the offensive tackles were getting absolutely plowed over by Derek Moore. So he is a guy that definitely stands out for me.
Yeah. And speaking of Derek Moore, I mean, what he
Speaking
did
of standing out, Michael Ronquillo come in and gifting 10 memberships to you viewers over here on YouTube. So if you're on Facebook, now's the time to make the conversion, as we do a little bit more on YouTube, because Facebook is having a bunch of issues behind the scenes with us. So we're kind of working on making that transition until they fix it. If you are in the chat and have been gifted one of those memberships, please say thank you to Michael Ronquillo here, to the Ronk. We appreciate you. We appreciate you coming in every single night and every single show. And we appreciate the support, both, with reminding me at the very least to give shout outs about liking and subscribing and all that, as well as support financially with the gifted memberships and the super chats and all the stars that you've donated over the many months.
Yeah. I mean, Ronk's a Mile High Huddle Mount Rushmore member. Like he's been one of those guys for a long time. So thank you, Michael. We definitely appreciate that. I lost my train of thought now. Oh, going back to Derek Moore, that edge defender from Michigan, that one rep that he had, I believe it was the Miami left tackle where he absolutely ran him over.
The 6'9" dude.
Yes. Yeah. It was ridiculous. Miami, I don't remember his name, is Markel or something.
Markel Bell.
Thank you. He didn't even have his feet set. And what Derek Moore did to him should be considered like assault with a deadly weapon, because his helmet went directly through his chest and ripped his soul completely from his body. It was awesome.
And real quick, hat tip to Markel Bell for bouncing back after that rep. And on the same day, to close things out, he had a huge monster compete session where he actually handled the one-on-one.
Yeah. Like the Senior Bowl is so fun, man. Like, and this defensive line group, like I want to get into this defensive line group in just a little bit here. I mean, Derek Moore, Gabe Akis, who had a great week, the edge defender from Illinois, showed the burst. I mean, 6'3", 260 pounds. For a guy that size, you don't think of a guy that's going to play like stand-up edge rusher. He has the burst and the twitch, a little bit of bend to him, speed to power conversion. He had a great week. But interior defensive line, man, I talked about Amari Washington a little bit ago. We talked about some nose tackles, but like Caleb Banks, Lee Hunter, like Tim Keenan from Alabama, like this interior defensive line group this year is absolutely incredible. And man, one thing that really kind of stood out was Caleb Banks. Every single time that he had an opportunity to go and win with some physicality, he seemed to do that all week long. Lee Hunter was a little bit inconsistent to close out the week, but man, those two guys stood out for nose tackles that really belong at the NFL level. And quite honestly, for the Broncos, if they stay at number 30 overall and don't move around, both of those guys could definitely be on the roster here.
Yeah, I can't remember what movie it is. I'm talking about Tim Keenan here for a second, where it's a football movie and they're doing something and the guy's helmet gets turned around. I can't remember what movie it is, but I swear to God, Tim Keenan on the first day had a club hit on a guy's helmet that I'm surprised the guy's head was able to stay on. It was loud. So much power in those hands. Absolute cement. But Caleb Banks, what was stood out with me was how they moved him around. There was a couple reps even with him working as a 7 technique, and I think one as a 9 even, as a stand-up 9. And it didn't matter where he was. He was winning consistently. Lee Hunter, as you brought up, he did have a really inconsistent week. When he would play with a good base and play with good pad level and play with leverage, he would win consistently, and that really enables the power that he brings. And I'm going to shoot my camera. But he was great, but there was times where he would get up, get that pad level eye, and just get owned. And then to close it out, the very last one-on-one rep, best on best to compete, whatever you want to call it. I like to call it best on best. Best on best was Lee Hunter against Bo Stevens, one of the interior offensive linemen out of Iowa. Lee Hunter, he leans into it. Bo Stevens reads it, takes care of it. Snatch technique, grabs, pulls him down. Lee Hunter's on the ground. Bo Stevens and the team thing is on to moving on. Beautiful execution of a snatch technique by Bo Stevens. If you want to see it done by textbook, watch that rep. But Lee Hunter did a great job. Caleb Banks did a great job. But I want to give a shout out to one defensive lineman who isn't part of those nose tackles that had a really good day, good week even, is Grayson Halton out of Oklahoma.
Yes.
In team drills, one-on-ones, he didn't stand out as much, but team drills, especially the first 2 days, almost every single time he was on the field, he was causing some sort of disruption. Against the run as a pass rusher, it didn't matter. He was causing disruption, and it was the defense in team drills, they won both sides. Off the edge, you mentioned a couple guys, but talking about others, Quantavious Hutchins out of Boston College, he was absolutely owning it. TJ Parker had probably one of the best weeks of it. Gabe Hawkins had out of Illinois, you brought about him. Max Llewellyn out of Iowa. He absolutely, day 3 was his day. Derek Moore, Zion Young, denied Dennis Sutton, had some really good plays. Romello Height, he also stood out on the defensive line.
Zane Durant had a really good week too. Like, he was just super consistent, not necessarily flashy, but he was super consistent in everything that I saw him. And the interior defensive lineman from Penn State, like, he was great.
And then on the defensive line, you have Devin Eastern, who's a big guy, 6'5", 300 pounds, who was pretty consistent, especially as a run defender. Rayshawn Benny, a little bit more up and down, but the highs were really good. Jeffrey Mba out of SMU, he was pretty consistent throughout. Cameron Ball, he batted down like 3 or 4 passes, 6'3", 313 pounds. So it was the defensive front, man, both sides absolutely owned it.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to come back for a little bit into the show because we're going to move a second level back on the defensive side of the football, talking about some linebackers here, and Jacob Rodriguez from Texas Tech and what he has been able to do at the Senior Bowl. Like, this dude has been incredibly fun to watch. One-on-ones, he was being a bully in pass coverage. He was great as a blitzer. In team drills, I believe in one-on-ones, he came away with an interception, forced a fumble in team drills. Like, the linebacker play has been really, really fun. Eric, I know you're going to shout him out, but I'm gonna introduce him to you guys. Pittsburgh, Kyle Lewis, 5'11" and 6'8", so 5'11" and 3/4, 224 pounds, undersized linebacker, plays with a lot of length. But dude, these linebackers have been really fun to watch on the American team this week.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great showing by the linebackers overall. Talking about Jacob Rodriguez, he's going to be hit for that height and those lengths, especially with the modern NFL. And there are times where the instincts don't always match what he's seeing or what they're showing. So that's something that, at the combine, that's something that's going to be touched on. He's a guy that a lot of people are talking about second round. Some conversations I've had, they're talking more third or fourth round. We'll see. Obviously, a long time between now and the draft. But Kyle Lewis, I don't think anybody probably helped themselves more than he did. there was a series of red zone drills where they kept targeting him in the middle of the field, and this was yesterday during yesterday's final practice. I can't remember exactly how many passes, but he intercepted 2 passes and broke up like 3 or 4 more. And it would just get to a point where, why are you even targeting him?
Mm-hmm.
And in one-on-one drills, I want to be very clear. One-on-one drills are made for linebackers and safeties and corners. It's made for them to lose. It is made for the offensive playmaker to shine and do whatever and win and come down with the catch. It is so against the defensive side of the ball. Kyle Lewis lost 2 of those reps out of, I think, 12.
Yep.
One of them, he was just a little bit late on a out route from the running back, just a little bit late reading it. And then another one was he slipped up with his feet. He slipped on the field. But yeah, he was absolutely phenomenal. 224 pounds. He plays like a big box safety, which is probably what you're going to be looking at for his usage. Owen Heineke and Bryce Bocher, both of them had great days yesterday. Jack Kelly, probably he kind of fell off a little bit, but he started off really hot. And all these guys, they all have that same question about them. Size. Yeah. Jack Kelly, he's 246 pounds, but 6'1". Owen Heineke, 224 pounds, 6'1". Bryce Bocher, 227, 6 foot. Kyle Lewis, 5'11", 224. Another guy who had a pretty good day or a pretty good sets of practice, Xavier Sori out of Arkansas, 6'1", 220. So a lot of undersized linebackers, but the way the NFL game is, you want these guys, as long as it's not a major negative impact with their play, especially with tackling, which with Kyle Lewis, it's not. And Jacob Rodriguez, if I recall, it's not. If they can fly and they can read and they can show their instincts and their smarts, they're kind of being fine with the, maybe the overs a little bit. Maybe they have safeties cheat their coverage or the linebackers cheat their coverage. But man, even despite being undersized, these guys can play.
Yeah, well, and Bryce Boecher had a couple of really good reps in terms of running back versus tight end blitz pickup. We're going to allow our linebackers a 5-yard head start, and we have to do a blitz pickup drill one-on-one.
Yeah, if you want to talk about a drill that's favoring the defense, it's running back pass protection drills. Linebackers on a free 5-yard start. If they're not bulldozing those guys every single time, they're either being told not to, or they're not that good.
Yeah, and Bryce Boecher ran over a couple different running backs like multiple different times. It was fun to watch. Like that dude, he brings the wood, man. And
one of them was your guy, Katron Allen, if I remember correctly.
Yes, yes. Was it Allen or was it Singleton? It was one of the Penn State guys.
Allen.
It might have been. Was that the one where it was like cut across?
It was a 5-yard head start where he just sprinted his way, lowered and just
yeah. Regardless, for a guy that weighs 227 pounds, he brings the wood, dude. Like that guy knows how to hit. And with going back to Jacob Rodriguez, he may be a small guy and unathletic. Unathletic is hard for me to really kind of say, but you can see that there's some stickiness with his hips. Then he's not the best foot athlete, as Sean Payton would like to say. But that dude just put himself around the football, and he is physical by every stretch of the imagination. Watching Boecher and the TCU kid, what was his name? The TCU linebacker. He was pretty good in coverage too. But the physicality from these smaller guys was really, really fun to watch.
Alarms or Obiazor.
Obiazor.
He was all right. Definitely some issues working downhill, but he was all right. And I had to pull it up. Jacob Rodriguez, 44 missed tackles in the last 2 years.
Really? Wow. Well, I guarantee you that's a size and a length concern is what it is, because those are the big concerns with him, and also a lack of true athleticism for him. Regardless, you mentioned Lewis, the linebacker from Pittsburgh, is one of the guys that probably helped his stock the most. We're going to back up another level into the secondary here. A guy that I absolutely fell in love with watching the one-on-ones, watching some of the stuff for the team drills. Bud Clark.
You there?
5 pounds. I believe he measured in it right at 180. This dude has ball skills like you cannot believe. Honestly, watching back through the one-on-one tape, you guys all should remember, if you're all P1 listeners of the show, it was, I believe, 2020 or 2021. The one guy that I wanted the Broncos to draft that was at the Senior Bowl was Richie Grant from UCF. Bud Clark did a lot of the same things that Richie Grant did in terms of the one-on-one stuff, knocking passes away, came away with a big interception. Like this dude, it was absolutely incredible. The size concerns are for real, but man, that dude just became a true 6 to noon guy for me, if you know what I mean.
He is a boomer bust player.
Yes.
Like this year alone, he allowed 4 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 6 passes broken up, 7 penalties. Can move around. He played in the slot. He actually played his most work in the slot. Played that high safety, played in the box. He's definitely played all around that field. But again, you got to take the good with the bad with him. He fortunately, despite the size, he doesn't miss a ton of tackles. It's not a great number, 9. It's a 14.5 missed tackle percentage for him, which is probably better than just Raw's tackle sets. But so not great, but it's not terrible. It's not something you can live with. But if you're looking for a guy with absolute amazing range who can be a playmaker for you on the back end and hopefully correct the bust issues that he has, then yeah, Bud Clark, absolutely, guy can fly. Like he's just always around the ball. And on one-on-ones to close out the week of practice yesterday, I don't think he allowed a single catch. Like he was breaking them all up consistently.
It was incredible, dude. The fluidity in his hips, the first step explosiveness coming out of his break, like that dude, it's incredible. And even being undersized, I don't think that there's any length concerns with him. It looks like he's got like 31-inch arms. Like he's got, for a safety, it's good enough, especially for like a free
31
safety.
and a half.
Yeah, there it is. So like the length is there, the technique is there, the fluidity, the athleticism. The only thing he doesn't bring, and I need to go back and watch tape on this, he's physical at the catch point. I don't know how he is as a tackler. You said 14.5% missed tackle percentage, so size concerns definitely are there. I want to go back and see exactly why that is. But what he showed in Mobile over the last 3 days was absolutely incredible to watch, man. So what about Kamari Ramsey, the safety out of USC? I know he's a top 75 player for a lot of people. I didn't get a chance to check out much of what he did. How did he look down there in Mobile?
Off the top of my head, I can't recall a single snap of his.
Oh, really? So he didn't flash. That's intriguing to me.
It doesn't mean he was bad, just to be clear.
Right.
It just means he didn't have those flash plays that help draw my attention to him with it. Even though I go back, I go back the same way I do my grades. I go back and I watch it, the same rep over and over again. And I mean, these were basically ever since last week. It's been about like 16-hour days watching over these tape practices. But yeah, I know he's in my notes somewhere, but I don't have my notebook with me at the moment. It's in the other room. So off the top of my head, I don't remember anything about him. But Glenn Ashley saying Carson Schwarzenegger, who we both coveted last year, would have been perfect at linebacker. I actually didn't covet Carson Schwarzenegger last year.
That was me.
I had some concerns with him. I grew to like him more as the process went on. Talking about him with Nick, I actually went back and watched him, and I liked him a little bit more. He went right around that range where if I remember correctly, I ended up having him. But I wasn't Nick and Lance, they were the guys who were much higher on Carson Schwarzenegger than I was.
Yep. Carson Schwarzenegger and his ability to be the pull runner. And when I say that, like Tampa 2 high defense, we're going to drop a linebacker that's called the pull runner, the linebacker that drops back in a Tampa 2 that runs vertically and gets vertical. His ability to play that particular role in the UCLA defense was something that like literally caught my eye. And the fact that he was consistently around the ball, man, like I had him as a first round player. He went, I think 33 or 34, if I remember correctly.
He was like one of the first 2 picks.
Yeah, and he is very clearly going to be the defensive rookie of the year this year, at least in my opinion. So that was he was a really fun player to watch. Speaking of fun players to watch, we only got a couple minutes here, Eric, and then I'll let you close out the show. There's one player that's really kind of stood out, and everyone has been kind of hyped up about the production and his ability over the past handful of days down in Mobile. This Tyron Montgomery, he's a Division III, I believe, is John Carroll University wide receiver that has been really like racking up a lot of highlights. He's not the most explosive player, but a technician as a route runner, consistent hands. He continues to attack the football, made a handful of really great high point catches at the catch point on deep shots. What did you think of Tyron Montgomery over the past couple days?
He showed he belonged, at least at the Senior Bowl level.
Yep.
He made yesterday was a little bit rough. He had some issues with dropping the ball, but the way that corners were playing him was a lot different. They were being a lot more hands on, which makes sense after watching him the first couple days where he was getting separation and using his body to box them out and being a little bit more physical with them. He definitely showed it belongs. I saw some people talk about top 100. I don't think that. I think you're talking about maybe 150 to 200. Maybe he cracks the top 150 slightly. But John Carroll, that is a huge jump in competition for him. And so it's tough, but he definitely shows he belongs. And QB Easy. I just had your name as well, because I know you've changed it. I can't remember what it is now. Kyle Lewis, it's Louis for you to check him out. Just to clarify that. Because there's another Kyle Lewis that I think also plays linebacker that was a red shirt sophomore this year, who we're going to be talking about here in a couple years probably.
Yeah, he comes back and said, "Y'all getting me excited about this draft." I'm excited too. I'm excited too. Like honestly, I can't really. I can't wait to really start diving into a lot of the tape.
How can you not be excited about the draft? Like, not calling anybody out here. I don't see it here, but I see it on other sites, Facebook, a lot on draft articles. It's like, no one cares about the draft. I don't see how you can't. That is the easiest way to help improve your team, and you do so without having to spend a lot of money. I love the draft. It's what made me really, really fall in love with football. It's why I do what I do.
So a little background on me. When I was a kid, I remember 8, 9, 10 years old, I would watch ESPN for the bottom line, because the draft back in the late 90s, early 2000s, that's when really kind of started to hype up and it became a big production. But it was mostly the first round. I would literally sit and watch as the bottom line on ESPN would go, and I would write names of players down because I wanted to know who these players were. That was literally how my draft love began, was just watching ESPN and trying to find out who is going to be the new Denver Bronco. And I would read the entire bottom line for 3 days trying to figure out who the Broncos took. That's what got me into the draft, man. How could you not be excited for this process?
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely love it. And even if it doesn't excite you, you don't want to do the work. Well, again, as I said this earlier, that's what we're here for.
Yeah,
I almost said me,
absolutely.
but Lance chimes in every now and then.
Hey, come on, man. That's not
you
fair.
said it yourself. You're way behind. You just don't have the time. But
I'm going to do a lot this year.
It's a lot, and I can't wait to dive into it. And I'm so excited that continuing from last year, I didn't get last year in February, we took a break off from Dove Valley Divers, trying to figure out a time frame that would work for us. And then I was also transitioning into taking the morning shows as well as Scott stepped away. And this year, it's like I don't have any of that transition period. I'm full go from here on out. I'm super excited. I hope everybody here in chat is as well. But that's going to have to do it for us before we get yelled at to turn it off, because we are running a little bit over the hour mark and we can't post on Facebook while we're doing live stream into Facebook. So thank you all for tuning in. Real quick, Glenn Ashley, that work you do, Eric, Nick, and have put him over the years have really helped me improve my knowledge and dig in earlier and earlier to the draft. Appreciate that. I cannot express how much that means to me with it, of being able to have even though it's football, have this impact on somebody's life. It means a lot. And I'm glad that we're helping you and everything like that. And it's all it's part of why I love doing what I do. Even though every now and then I get comments talking about how much I hate it because I talk about how tired I am here. But anyways, I digress. We got to get out of here. Again, before we get yelled at, we do have a hard end for it. But one thing you guys can do before we get out of here, make sure you subscribe, like, and share. I'm looking at 17 likes, and that over on here we have Chase Wellner, he's coming in with a wow. We have Adam Sears, Albert Knoppers, Daniel Garcia, Ryan Yancey, Glenn Ashley, and a bunch of others coming in over on Facebook with those likes. We appreciate you guys as well. And if you're over on Facebook, whatever, do that. But again, make sure you subscribe, like, and share. It's one way that you can help us with the algorithms, which is why we're leaving Facebook, or it's kind of shying away from Facebook a little bit. And they're ever changing, and they are, again, if it's not obvious, they're very frustrating on our end. Welcome to everyone who is a member. If you guys are not a member, you guys can do so by going over to youtube.com/milehighhuddle, where we have some exclusive content. And I still got to get around to talking Chad. It's been busy. He's been down in Mobile, Alabama for the Senior Bowl this week, but I have some thoughts about some stuff I want to do, especially during the draft. Super chats and stars. If you guys are able to super chat or star, it's one way to help us keep the lights on, help us do what we do. And we appreciate you guys. Even coming in, comment, we appreciate you guys, but donating money always obviously makes us love you just a little bit more. Kidding. We love and appreciate you all.
We love everybody.
You guys can also go over to Spotify or Apple Podcasts and leave a 5-star review for chance to win some gear, not swag. I hate saying swag every single month. And speaking of the gear or of that, you guys go over to mhhmerch.com to get hats like the ones that we have on, shirts, mugs, all sorts of stuff over there. Again, mhhmerch.com, get your gear on, not swag. Again, I hate saying swag. If you haven't done so yet, make sure you go and join the Mile High Huddle Discord server. I've been in there a little bit as I'm doing some work. I take some breaks. I jump in there. The link is in the description down below. It's very easy to use. It can take a little bit of time to set it up, but again, it is very, very easy to use. You guys can follow us on Instagram, Mile High Huddle, with an underscore between Mile High and Huddle. You can check us out on Facebook, facebook.com/Mile High Huddle Pod, or facebook.com/Mile High Huddle. Even though we are shying away, we have still built up a wonderful Facebook community over the last 13 years there, and that are mostly amazing, I should say. There are some of you, I see you, that don't like the work we do, but hey, can't please everybody. But still, it is still a wonderful community, and I am obviously poking fun at those people, as well as my camera freezes up once again. Follow us on Twitter at Mile High Huddle, at DVDD_pod, at the MHH pod, and of course, Lance and myself at Lance S_MHH, at Erick Trickel. That's a CK and then a CKEL there at the end. We appreciate you guys again so much here. Going through if there's any last things here. Todd also it would be nice to draft a tight end, but not sure there are any impactful tight ends there are this year. They are. This is probably a overall better tight end class than last year. Maybe not so much a talent at the top, but the depth is significantly better. Albert Knoppers is saying thank you and hello as well to Glenn. Pearl saying thank you after listening from the start. Definitely. Glenn Ashley saying
jumped in
Discord.
Hi, Pearl.
Michael Ronquillo saying Erick is a top 100. Erick top 100 players in the NFL draft. Ew. I'm gonna have to go look into here a little bit more. Shiloh saying having all of our picks second year in a row. Denver does not have all their picks this year. They do not have their 6th round pick. That was part of the Devon Bailey trade, but they do have an extra 4th to make up for, and are currently projected to get 2 compensatory picks in the 7th round for the loss of Javonte Williams and Riley Dixon. Todd also saying Erick is wearing some cat ears. No, I am wearing Gengar ears. Gengar. Pokemon. My other headset was starting to give me issues. I was constantly hearing static during the shows. So my wife and kid got me a headset for Christmas, and it was Gengar because they know how much I love Gengar. Probably one of my favorite Pokemon. It's probably second favorite Pokemon, but you can't ever find anything from Marshadow. And then must be something his kid got him to wear. Not got me to wear, just got me in general. So that's that. We're gonna have to do it for us. Lance, before we get out of here, any last words?
No, dude, I'm super excited to be at this particular point of the season. I mean, again, like I said at the onset of the show, it sucks that we don't get to cover the Broncos in the Super Bowl this year. But I have a sneaking suspicion we're going to be somewhere close to this again next year, where the Broncos could potentially be in the Super Bowl next year. Like the growth of this roster, and with the ability, the cap space that they have, we could not be doing a Senior Bowl show. But I'm excited for this, dude. I'm excited to get into the draft process, excited to start watching these prospects, just doing the combine, doing the Senior Bowl. It gets my juices going, dude. Like it's awesome. And as Shiloh comes in, love Pokemon. I love your Gengar headset. I wish I had one too. It would be freaking awesome.
I also love a Gengar mouse.
Give me a Dragonite headset or a Charizard one. Charizard's the best Pokemon in the game. I don't care what anybody wants to say. So, but yeah, love Pokemon. Love you all. Thank you all for joining us. I want to give a quick shout out, guys. I'm going to run through these super chats again. We got Papa Bear, David McElrath joining in early before the show. Shiloh jumped in early. Shannon Miller off the top rope with a $50 super chat. Michael Rodkeel gifting 10 Mile High Huddle subs memberships over on YouTube. So thank you all, and the countless other people. I believe Glenn Ashley dropped some stars on Facebook. I don't get to see those on my end, but thank you all for everything and the support you guys have shown us. You all stay safe and take care. Have a great rest of your weekend. And as always, go Broncos.
Greg Smith coming in saying a lot of small earthquakes going on up there. Last time I checked, they are a lot farther east than I am. closer to the Canadian border of Alaska. Still get some every now and then here, but I haven't been feeling them or anything like that. Thankfully, I am really worried about a big earthquake coming. If you can't see from behind me, really worried about it. Especially the Falcon here. That's barely on that shelf. But anyways, I digress. We got to get out of here before I get yelled at. Thank you all for tuning in. Hope you guys have a wonderful night. Stay safe. Don't drink and drive. Make sure if you are struggling, please reach out to somebody. Please reach out to your friends and family. Let them know you love them. It can make a major difference with them. If you are struggling mentally, suicide hotlines there. Reach out to us. Reach out to somebody, please. There are people in this world that care about you and love you. Stay safe. Again, don't drink and drive. Again, very important. Do not drink and drive, especially with the way the weather is right now. I know that the lower 48, they just had that polar vortex, and I believe there's another one that's past the hit, and it's making the roads really ice, and the ice is dangerous, so be cautious of that. If you're out there driving, and don't compile the issues with it, with the ice on the road and drinking and driving. Stay safe. Be smart. You're Broncos fans. We're not Raiders fans. Have a wonderful weekend. I will see you Monday morning. Again, stay safe. Don't drink and drive. I can't say that enough. Go Broncos, and I'm so excited for this draft season.